It's pure ideology.
Welcome to the National Stock Exchange. From the outside, it's a shining example of India's post-liberalization corporate success, the underdog that quickly overthrew its entrenched and corrupt rival, the Bombay Stock Exchange, to gain dominant control of very significant sectors of India's financial markets. A company that owes much of its continued success to its eager adoption of cutting-edge financial technologies, and an inspirational illustration of how an ambitious and visionary leadership can turn a fledgling company into a global financial powerhouse. From the inside though, it's, for lack of a better phrase, kind of a shit show. Less like a poster child of corporate professionalism and more like a den of greed, corruption and lunacy. Honestly, their rapid rise and near monopoly control of financial markets has a lot more to do with political patronage and regulatory capture than they'd like to admit. And some of the technology they've launched and profited from is less robust than a tin-pot crypto mining rig in some idiot's basement. As for the leadership, they're basically paranoid bullies who send defamation notices to journalists, and some of the visions they seem to have had are no different from those of some dude tripping on acid who thinks he's seen the face of God. No, seriously, meet Chitra Ramakrishna, the celebrated former CEO, who, by her own admission, was running the company with the constant guidance of a nameless, shape-shifting yogi, or Siddha Purusha as she calls him, who she claims does not have a permanent physical body, but nonetheless communicates with her via email. Here's her describing in a very matter-of-fact way how this peculiar arrangement with the Siddha Purusha came to be, although she does leave out details about the mind-altering drugs she was probably consuming at the time. I met him for the first time on the banks of the Ganges nearly 20 years ago. Subsequently, over the years I have taken his guidance on many personal and professional matters. Along the way, since he would manifest at will and I did not have any locational coordinates, I requested him for a way in which I could seek his guidance whenever I felt the need. Accordingly, he gave me an ID on which I could send my requests. Now, if you're a normal person and a weird bodiless entity starts sending you emails, you'd probably freak the fuck out and then change your email. But if you're Miss Ramakrishna, you not only consult this magical entity on the minute details of the company's day-to-day workings, but also eagerly share a significant amount of extremely sensitive, confidential information such as NSE's 5-year financial projections, their dividend payout ratio and business plans, agenda of board meetings and performance appraisals of employees, which is pretty insane and also illegal. And this is just the information she shared from her official email. Nobody has a clue how much information went out to the yogi from her private email. But Chitra ji appears to be convinced she did nothing wrong because according to her, she wasn't corresponding with a mere mortal who would misuse the information, but rather with a pure spiritual force. As she explains, being spiritual in nature, there would never be a question of any confidentiality or integrity issues being compromised for the organization. There would be no question of any personal gain because of the information shared. The Siddha Purusha, however, hardly comes across as the lofty, disinterested mentor that Chitra makes him out to be, and from his emails it appears his interests extend well beyond the spiritual realm. He seems particularly interested in promoting the career of another one of his long-time disciples, one Anand Subramanian, also known in internal emails as Kanchan or Subbu or simply G. Before 2013, that is before Chitra was elevated to the position of MD and CEO at the NSE, Anand was working a middle management job at a manufacturing company, earning around 15 lakh rupees a year. On the day Chitra took over though, Anand, who had no previous experience with financial markets, was hired as a consultant, most likely on the yogi's recommendation. But he wasn't just any old consultant. The role of chief strategic advisor to the CEO was specifically created for him, and he was offered a package worth 1.6 crore rupees, more than 10 times the salary he was drawing at his previous job. By 2016, in compliance with the Siddha Purusha's wishes, blemishes, Anand's designation was changed to Group Operating Officer, his annual salary had increased to more than 4 crore rupees, and he was essentially running the NSE on Chitra's behalf. Despite the numerous irregularities in his appointment and the massive executive powers he was arbitrarily given by Chitra, the company's board, full of respectable public luminaries, including the company's famed ex-CEO Ravi Narayan, seemingly did nothing to restrain their possibly deranged CEO. So what explains this outsider's meteoric rise at the country's largest stock exchange? Presumably, it was the high regard the yogi had for Anand's professional and spiritual faculties. In one of the yogi's emails to Chitra, by the way, Anand was CC'd on all emails between the two, he goes so far as saying that if I had the opportunity to be a person on earth, then Kanchan is the perfect fit. In fact, from their emails, the Siddha Purusha seems to consider Anand as his direct instrument and views Chitra as more of a puppet. In 2015, when the NSE was trying to get over a regulatory hurdle by lobbying the government, the yogi wrote to Chitra, "We need to make noises by knocking doors of the few. FM, PMO Somanathan, Cabinet Secretary, Economic Advisor, and finally the PM. These are not difficult as you think. We must do 2 people in a mix at a time. Kanchan will evaluate as per my will. Don't worry, the straw knows when to be a capillary and when not to. Kanchan is the straw and I will be the suction force for this, and you will vomit all that is required as always." It's hard to figure out what's the most disgusting thing about this email. The weird, yucky phrasing, or the casual humiliation, or the fact that the top echelons of government and bureaucracy are apparently bending to the will of someone who contends to be an otherworldly entity. But miraculously, even more disturbing than all of that is Chitra's gleeful acceptance of a position as a showpiece CEO. When she's not referring to the yogi as "my lord" or "Your Highness," she's casually telling him stuff like, "Company is running only because of thy grace and my G's blessings, Swami." So yeah, that's kind of screwed up. But it isn't like she's not getting anything out of this bizarre relationship. When the great Siddha Purusha does manifest himself in a physical body, she gets the privilege of spending valuable time with her celestial lord on the pristine beaches of Seychelles. Keep bags ready. I am planning a travel to Seychelles next month. We'll try if you can come with me. If you know swimming, then we could enjoy a sea bath in Seychelles and rest in the beach. It isn't clear from the email records whether the yogi planned to fly first class to Seychelles or simply teleport there using his magical powers, but he did seem quite enthusiastic about unwinding with Chitra, writing to her before the trip, "Get ready. Countdown starts now. I accommodate for Seychelles where you can chill it out." And apart from arranging these exotic chill-out sessions, the Siddha Purusha is equally adept at delivering scintillating compliments to his most devout disciple. Like this one from 2015. "Today you are looking awesome. You must learn different ways to plait your hair, which will make your looks interesting and appealing." Or, "I am happy to see cheer on your face and absolutely from your heart. I did rejoice the time yesterday with you. These small things you did for yourself make you feel younger and energetic." Sadly, with all the time spent in mastering the earthly elements, the Swami doesn't seem to have spared a lot of time mastering the art of flirting, but I think we can be certain that Chitra appreciated the effort. But eventually, as always, the fun and games have to end. In 2015, a whistleblower alerted the press about what came to be known as the co-location scam at the NSE. In response, a whole spate of internal and external investigations kicked off, and before the skeletons started tumbling out of the closet, both Chitra and Anand resigned from their respective posts in 2016. Despite all the investigations though, the identity of the Siddha Purusha has yet to be firmly established. A forensic investigation by Ernst & Young concluded on the basis of evidence they collected that it was Anand Subramanian who was pretending to send emails as the yogi for the purpose of manipulating Chitra for his personal gain. However, the market regulator SEBI in its recent report did not find EY's evidence convincing enough and instead noted that while it appears that Anand and the yogi were indeed working together to manipulate Chitra, they are not the same person. For now, all parties in this sordid saga have only been very lightly penalized by SEBI, though future investigations may change that. Already there are reports that Anand has been arrested by the CBI and the agency has issued lookout circulars against Chitra, and ex-CEO Ravi Narayan to ensure they don't flee the country. So, have we learned anything new from this peek into the workings of a major Indian corporation? Well, not really. Only someone who is willfully blind to the pervasive corruption and venality of corporate India would be shocked by this. There is, however, something instructive here, which is that perhaps even the most cynical among us have underestimated the rot within corporate India, and that the people in charge are somehow even more deceitful, dumb, and batshit crazy than we could ever imagine.